Welcome to Tamara Lynette Tales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 10. So this was the infamous 1-month anniversary episode. It's been a minute since this show had me yelling at the screen, but a handful of these folks had me all riled up. Let's get into the highlights. Krysten went to a candle making place with her friend. At first, she was carrying on about how happy she is, like this is what she's pictured Mary to be and how good the marriage feels. Child, 10 minutes later, she's in tears because he spit on her house flipping dream, doesn't accept her for who she is, and she's concerned that her parents will reject him because he doesn't treat her right. This poor child is so confused. But here's the thing about Krysten. She knows how to make a relationship work. She knows how to twist and contort herself into the wife that son of a Mitch wants, which unfortunately is not her. It kind of feels like she's treating this marriage like a competition where she's trying to win first place. But honey, the price for winning in this case is a husband who falls in love with your doppelganger because you're not the person you're pretending to be. Later, they head out to Julian, California, which is about an hour and a half away from San Diego. So son of a Mitch said that they were at a place called the Quiet Mind Retreat, and it was giving him Buddhism vibes, but he thought it was cool. So they take a yoga class together, and Krysten is laughing at son of a Mitch because he's grunting with every move. Now stop making fun of us folks who have to announce it when we move certain body parts, Krysten. When they got back to their room, they received a gift basket with their wedding pictures and vows. So to the confessional cam, son of a Mitch is talking about how happy he is, but he could have done a better job living up to his vows, and he feels a lot of affection towards Krysten. I was really happy to hear some self-awareness from him, because up to now, he's been approaching this marriage like a bull in a china shop, just hurting all of Kristen's little feelings. In the end, I believe Krysten may end up hurting son of a Mitch because she's figured him out. She knows what to do to make him happy, but it's not sustainable for her because she's really not trying to live in a wooden tiny home with combustible party plates and triple reclaimed water for the rest of her life like he is. Okay, so after watching this episode, I'm going to call Morgan catty. The official definition of catty is someone who is deliberately hurtful in one's remarks and spiteful. I mean, need I say more? Anyway, Catty met with her friend from the convent. Just kidding. But I think if she could have gotten that turtleneck any higher, she would have. So Catty told her friend that she found out from Alexis that Ben has been talking to Weeping Willow about her. So get this, Weeping Willow talks to Ben on speakerphone with Alexis in earshot, which is messy as hell, Weeping Willow. Come on. This is why the show isn't called Friends at First Sight, because a true friend is not going to have you on speakerphone with his wife in the room when you are venting about her friend. So Catty said that Alexis said, I know you're a good person, but the person Ben is making you out to be is the complete opposite. But how do you know she's a good person behind closed doors with her husband, Alexis? So Catty is sitting there kind of smug, like telling her friend the story about how she told Ben she knows what he said because Alexis told her, then like stormed off and wouldn't tell him what she knows. That apparently a few minutes later, Alexis contacted her and said Ben is in the apartment sitting right next to her. I mean, who needs a home wrecking machine when you have friends like Weeping Willow and Alexis? So Catty is bragging now to her friend about how he FaceTimed her and I was not calm, I was not mature, I let him have it. So she cussed Ben out for going to Alexis to find out what was said instead of her. He should have come to me. This man never had a chance. Ben chased you out of the apartment to ask you what Alexis said, but you just kept saying, everything. But now you got the nerve to be mad because he doesn't have that conversation with you instead of Alexis? Catty, I haven't seen this skill level of handling a relationship since high school. Every man you meet is not your father, boo-boo. Your father didn't step up and do what you asked him to do, so you cut him off. So now any man who disappoints you gets to meet your wall, get cussed out, and cut off too? So later, Caddy goes to kickboxing to let off some steam. To the confessional camp, she says, Ben and I aren't good anymore. Tomorrow, Ben and I are going to the place where we got married to renew our vows, and I'm definitely going to give him some vows tomorrow. I'm going to tell Ben a lot tomorrow. Ben doesn't know what's coming. You would think Ben had an affair with her turtleneck friend or something. She already cussed him out multiple times, but she's still raging. So the next day, Ben is standing at their wedding venue holding a bouquet of roses and being all hopeful to the confessional cam, just a smiling and optimistic, looking cute as a little button, not knowing if she's still mad or not. Caddy comes stomping around the corner like a linebacker in a bridesmaid's dress, hasn't calmed down at all. Ben hands her the flowers and she pretends to take them and lets them fall to the ground like, psych! Another move I haven't seen since high school. And then she proceeds to read them like she's in the middle of a soap opera, like all dramatic. I wrote my original vows and I was excited. I was excited to meet you. I was excited because I thought I was meeting someone who was going to care for me, be my partner, be on my side and have my back at all times. You're not that man. I'm giving you this one opportunity to explain yourself, to really explain it and have a real conversation with me for once. For once? What does that mean? This man has gotten vulnerable with you and dug deep to share how his past has affected his current while you just sit there stone-faced. So anyway, Ben is standing there with his mouth open so long that his spit has seeped out and dried up on his little lips, because all he was trying to do was confide in someone who understood what he was going through. But Caddy won't let him get a word in and still bringing up the nurse misunderstanding situation. Do you realize that Weeping Willow talks to you on speakerphone and Alexis hears everything? And Alexis was singing like a bird, spilling all your tea, Ben. Ben still couldn't get a word in and she just kept cutting him off like, I only went to Weeping Willow after I told you not to. And well, Miguel was for, and you went to Miguel too. You don't even hear how that sounds. Well, but I only went to Weeping Willow, but I also went to Miguel. Do you see how that sounds right now? You're not even owning up to any of the stuff. Meanwhile, poor Ben didn't know what to say or how and was just standing there with white spit built up all over his mouth like he just blew a bubble with Bubblicious. So she storms off and talks to her producer, and for whatever reason, Ben went after her like, let her go already. So he owned up to everything and apologized for everything, which convinced her to sit down. To the confessional cam, he says, I feel like I can't do anything right. Like I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. And I'm fighting an uphill battle that I can't see the top of. So she's sitting at the table just shooting darts at him with her eyes, and he apologizes again. And it took a lot for Ben to suck up all that heat she brought and just simply apologize. Like, no, seriously, Ben, I tip my wig to you on that one. Meanwhile, she's accusing him of putting Weeping Willow in the middle of their marriage, but not acknowledging how she dragged Alexis right in next to him. So then Caddy has the nerve to say, I'm going to continue to go through this process and you are going to continue to show up every single day because I want you to see me every single day and I want you to remember and I want you to know how much you hurt me. What kind of hostage movie are you trying to produce? This sounds scary. No thank you. No one is trying to stick around for your punishment, ma'am. Anyway, what else are you bringing to the table besides walls, rage, and granny heels? So to the confessional cam, she said she's not sure where she's at this point. She's hoping the experts can help. Girl, you don't need an expert. You need an annulment. Go on and go. Go. Weeping Willow went fishing with his brother, and he said he realized that he has these outbursts, but no one has ever called him out on it. It's like draining for Alexis, so now he's in his head. Dude, your emotions are kind of all over the place. No one should have to tell you that. So Alexis met with her friend and said that Weeping Willow doesn't know how to self-regulate when he's going off the rails, which is draining for her, but she has to stay calm and do it for him. Like, honey, I see this as a lot and I think you need a break. I do see what Alexis is talking about. I can see her picking her words carefully when he's upset. She becomes the leader of their relationship when their emotions are running high. She says she's losing her drive and she's starting to shut down, trying to get him not to shut down. So her friend asked, if decision day was tomorrow, what would you do? And she said she'd be uncomfortable with saying yes or no. She's like in between right now. See, I was surprised to hear this answer, being that she has made it very clear that if they were dating, she would have dumped him by now. For their 1-month anniversary, they did this little craft project with their photos. Very low budget considering what some of the other couples did. So anyway, Alexis seems to be having fun and reminiscing about the good old days, which was 3 weeks ago. But Weeping Willow seems a little distant, and he basically said he feels like that there isn't enough time to fix the things he needs to work on. And Alexis was like, to me, that sounds like you're saying there's not enough time, so that's it. Like, you've done all that you can do. So he's like, in the long run, I don't feel like I have enough time, but just because I don't have enough time doesn't mean I won't keep trying. So to the confessional cam, Alexis says that if she wasn't married to Weeping Willow, she would have called it quits already because they've experienced too much hurt too soon. So why did she tell her friend she's on the fence if decision day were today? I mean, I believe their marriage is going to roll into decision day looking like a busted 1976 Volkswagen Beetle, like wheels falling off, smoke coming out the pipes and gurgling. This couple is barely gonna make it to the decision day couch. So Stacia met with her mother, and to the confessional cam, Stacia said that Nate needs to reassure her that he's falling in love with her through his actions. Nate, would you please tell this woman a painful childhood story already to get her to calm down? So she tells her mom that she always wants to continue to make sure that the person she's in a relationship with is trustworthy, because in the past she might have been too trusting. And her mom asks, like, why do you struggle with trust so much? Because I feel I've been let down. Like, trust is earned, not given. And I feel like people are just always going to let you down. So to the confessional cam, her mom was emotional because she feels like she's part of the problem with Stacia's trust. She said Stacia saw her in a difficult relationship when she was a child. Her mother was very loving and gave good advice, basically telling her not to make him earn her trust, but to trust Nate until he gives her reason not to. Later, we see Stacia go over to Krysten's and that son of a Mitch's apartment to pick up the dog. So to the confessional cam, Stacia said that Krysten and son of a Mitch are going away for the weekend, and she's volunteered to watch the dog because Nate wants a dog. She said she doesn't really like pets, but she knows she has to compromise in a marriage, so this is a good trial. Krysten pulls out a bag of goodies with instructions on how to care for the dog. Stacia is making all kinds of crazy facial expressions while Krysten explains how to care for the dog. She ain't ready, y'all. Then Nate and Stacia go to a lawyer's office to sign a post-nuptial agreement. So to the confessional cam, Stacia said she's happy that Nate agreed to sign the post-nup. It helps her to trust him a little more. And that she needs to give Nate the space to lead in certain instances, and she's giving him the space to do that. Huh? By making him sign a post-nup? Or now that you feel like he's not in your pocket, he can take the lead? So to the confessional cam, Nate says she's asking for action, so I'm willing to show her that I'm not trying to take anything from her. I'm just wondering how much more proving he's willing to do before he snaps, because nobody is trying to live their lives in the court of Stacia, where you constantly have to provide physical evidence as to why you're with her. Meanwhile, Nate is back at the apartment watching the dog hump the heck out of her bed and scoot across the carpet to scratch her itch. Still want a dog, Nate? So they celebrated their 1 month by having a lunch in the park. So Stacia asked, what have you learned? Did you think we would be here? He said, I wasn't sure, to be honest. I tried to do everything you asked, but all of my actions you pretty much dismissed. You don't realize that you're saying things that are tied to trust, and that hurt me. I'm over here telling you I'm about to move in with you, and you're like, oh, anybody can do that. You were an asshole. Stacia said, did you just call your wife an asshole? Yes, I did. Stacia, you did say you wanted him to be more expressive. Careful what you ask for. And of course, she had to go right back to his love Richter scale and ask where he's at with his feelings. But he said he's falling in love with her, and he's at like a 7 or 8 even. Ooh, she was so happy. Well, in that moment, but of course she needed her physical proof. So this time she needed to brand him. So they scurried over to a tattoo shop and got matching tattoos with their wedding date on their hand. I suppose next week she'll make him legally change his middle name to Stacia or something. I mean, this man has gone above and beyond to prove he's with you. Stacia, I hope you're bringing more to the table than money and bubble baths, because you're asking a lot of a man who's only known you for a year, let alone a month. So they go on a boat ride for their 30th anniversary, and he's wearing the shirt Lindy gave him during Shirtgate, which I thought was kind of cute. Well, as long as it's clean. So they're like on the boat and they're like vibing and talking about how they're getting to know each other's good and bad sides. And to the confessional cam, Miguel says, "The unknown is scary to some, but I've made peace with that already, because I'll tell you this, I've seen you at your worst." "No, you haven't. You haven't seen me at my worst." "Well, damn. Okay, now I'm scared." "You should be scared. Buckle up, baby." All they show this couple talking about is Miguel seeing and accepting Lindy's bad side. To me, that actually means they must be doing pretty good, because the producers can't seem to get any other storyline out of them so far. So they get the group together to have dinner in honor of their 1-month anniversaries. Ben and Caddy didn't go for obvious reasons. So we see everybody else pile into a party bus that drives them around the corner for dinner. Like, San Diego's not that big. So of course they do like they always do and go around the table to talk about their marriages and say things we've already heard. So Stacia had on her backwards Chanel earrings. I was like, what's nail shaw? It took me a minute. When they got to Son of a Mitch and Krysten, he says it's been a journey of self-discovery. I don't have much relationship experience, and I wasn't sure if I had the capacity to be a husband. Those two statements alone should have disqualified him for this show. Krysten says, "You're an incredible man, but you say a lot of stuff where I'm like, you signed up to be married. Like, I wasn't sure if I could be a husband? People keep saying, I'm proud of you, Mitch, but what about me? Part of me feels like this is going so well because I'm trying hard and compromising. But where does Krysten stop compromising? And when does Krysten get to do whatever she wants to do? Krysten gets to do Krysten. I'm gonna snap, and I might completely lose Son of a Mitch when I do." Girl, we all saw this snap coming. An expert probably would have seen it if they ever came around, and probably could have even helped y'all out. You weren't being true to yourself, so I actually blame you for feeling this way, Krysten. But Son of a Mitch took it well and said, "I encourage you to be your true self. I welcome that. It's not gonna shut me down." Meanwhile, Alexis is sitting there taking deep breaths like she's about to hyperventilate, looking all frustrated in her mime outfit, but doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to share, which bothers Weeping Willow. So to the confessional cam, Alexis says she's trying to be respectful of her husband's sensitivity because she doesn't feel like he's making any progress. Now, Weeping Willow wouldn't let it go, so they get into a little tiff at the table about Alexis not having anything to say, and for some reason, Weeping Willow just couldn't let it go, so finally, Alexis unleashed. She told him that he doesn't self-regulate and she needs consistency. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. She never knows which one she's gonna get, and it scares her. "You're very emotional. You call it passionate. But when you come back and apologize and say you're right, babe, it hurts. That's what I want you to know. It still hurts." "Okay, but if the Lakers win on Tuesday, can we get ice cream?" So he's still asking silly questions. Just kidding, he didn't say that. Alexis leaves the table and Stacia followed her out. Then Weeping Willow left and talked to her producer. These group dinners are supposed to help them help each other, but I think they should include an expert at the table or off to the side or somewhere near so they can get some professional guidance and not advice from people like me who got their psychology degree at Know-It-All University. Okay, that's all I got. I'll holler at you later.